Shabbat Shalom, Yasha Allah. It's your brother Sadiq back at y'all with another lesson for those that are just coming into the truth. So one thing that happens when people, they first come into the truth, they learn all the precepts. They learn that they learn a few precepts to let them know that the Israelites. They learn how the Most High is our power and our power only. They also learn about they have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And you'll get a maybe percentage, maybe a 50-50 about the commandments. They'll try to keep the commandments. But the one thing that they don't like to hear, right, is or the one question that they ask us is, right, well, what about the white man? This is so common when people first encounter and come across us on the streets. They be vibing for a hot little minute, right? But then that question comes, what about the white man? Like the elder says, they don't say, what about the Eskimo? They don't say, what about the Cambodian, right? They don't say, what about the African, the Egyptian, right? They always say, what about the white man? So today we're going to see, what about the white man? And can the white man also be saved? And this lesson is going to include all other nations as well, but specifically the white man, because our people have some type of love Jones, some type of affinity towards the love of the white man. I mean, I guess it's that Stockholm syndrome, right? And I know this probably triggers a little bit of Christians because we get it all the time. What is you burning? What is y'all burning, right? This is frankincense and myrrh. This was one of the gifts that was brought to Hamashiach Yahushai when he was born. It's one of the holy, sweet fragrances that the Most High loves, frankincense and myrrh. You can find that in the book of St. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 11. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this. Let's open up with the book of Colossians chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Sham HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Sham HaMashiach Yahushai. So, again, can the white man be saved? I'm going to start off with the precept in the book of St. Luke, chapter 1. And I'm going to go to verse, let's go to verse 68. St. Luke, chapter 1 and verse 68. And it reads, blessed be the Most High of Israel. What does it say, brother? Of Israel. No, everybody. Of Israel. It says, blessed be the Most High of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. No, all people. His people. And raised up an horn of salvation. Right? When it's talking about the horn of salvation, that's that power of rulership and authority for Israel, right? It says, and have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, right? Now, when you look at that word salvation, right, in the Greek, it'll be G4991. That word is satera, and it means rescue, safety, physically or morally. So we are the ones that need to be rescued and saved, not only physically, because we're always constantly being gunned down in these streets, right, but also morally, right, because our minds are bad, our minds are gone. We are the only ones that need to be saved. And again, let's jump up to 68 again, because we got to keep on driving this point home of who can be saved, because there's levels of salvation, and we'll talk about how the white man can be saved. We'll get to that, but first and foremost, we're going to talk about us, our people, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So St. Luke chapter 1 and verse 68 again. Blessed be the Most High power of Israel, not of all people, of Israel. For he hath visited and redeemed his people and have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets. And we know the prophets, they only come out of Israel. And that's according to the book of Amos chapter 2 and verse 11, right? So Muhammad's not a prophet. Buddha wouldn't be a prophet, and all these other people that come up, that come on the earth, they're not prophets unless they come out of Israel, right? It says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. You see that? So from the beginning, the children of Israel we're always going to be the Most High's chosen people from since the world began, because we were predestined for rulership. We were predestined to have authority and dominion over the earth. We went from the sons of the Most High all the way down through the seed of Adam, through Noah, and eventually became the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Let's read on. That we should be saved. No, that all people should be saved. That we should be saved from our enemies, right? Because the 12 tribes of Israel are the only ones that need to be saved from their enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, right? So in there, we didn't see no other race, no other nationality inside of this scripture right here. St. Luke chapter 1, verse 68 through 71. We didn't see that at all. Instead, it said that children of Israel need to be saved from their enemies and all that hate us. Let's see who the enemies are, right? Because of course, if you're going to be saved, that means there must be somebody that is offending. That means there is somebody out there that is being a predator that's going to cause us to require safety and salvation, right? So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 83. Let's go to Psalms, chapter 83. And let's go to verse 1. It says, keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies. No, brother, it says friends. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Meaning they make confusion. They make war. They make wrath. They want to get at you, right? A tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Now this directly correlates with what? St. Luke chapter 1 and verse 70 to 71. What we just read. For lo, thine enemies, his enemies there, make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Remember, we have to be saved from our enemies and all those that hate us. Our enemies and all those that hate us. Let me slow down a little bit, right? From our enemies and all those that hate us. Let me read on. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consorted against thy hidden ones. That's talking about these other nations, right? And we're going to read to prove that it's talking about these other nations, right? And nobody else. So this is what the Israelites need to be saved from. So salvation, again, the Greek word is satera, how it's being used in the book of St. Luke, right? And it means rescue and safety, physically and morally. That's what salvation means. That is the Greek definition of the word salvation, right? Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Let's see who the them is, right? That the name of Israel. Let me read that again. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. In the name of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, we don't call ourselves Israel. We call ourselves black, African-American, Afro-American, and whatever byword you want to call yourself. But it says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. This is why we are out in the streets, because we have to bring the name of Israel back into remembrance. Back in these days, how we read in the book of Psalms, they know that they were Israelites. So this is a future prophecy, meaning later on down the line, at some point, it's going to come to pass that the children of Israel, they are no longer going to know themselves to be Israel. Because yeah, we were committing sins there, but when we were committing those sins, we knew that we were Israelites. We knew that we were the Most High's chosen people. We knew this at that time point. Now we don't know nothing. We don't know our power, who we should serve. We don't know the commandments. We don't know, we don't have no faith. We don't know any of that type of stuff. So we are no more in remembrance. That's all talking about our heritage, our culture, our traditions, our high holy days, our power. None of that stuff is in remembrance anymore. Let me read on verse 5. For they have consorted together with one consent, meaning they came together as one, right? They are confederate against thee. Let's see who the first one is confederate against thee, right? Remember, the title of this lesson is, Can the White Man Be Saved? Well, let's see. Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom. That's public enemy number 1. The tabernacles of Edom. Right? And we can prove who Edom is and who Esau is. That's public enemy number one. And the Ishmaelites. So not only cannot the white man be saved from need saving, right? But also the Ishmaelites. They don't need to be saved because all of these nations have taken crafty counsel against the children of Israel. They are the predators. They are the apex predator to the Israelite, right? The Israelite, we are those sheep, those harmless, those defenseless sheep that are walking in the pasture, right? And all these other nations are the wolves. All these other nations are the hyenas, the vultures, the predators, ready to attack the sheep and eat us up and destroy us. That's what they are. So we need to be saved from that. And we need our shepherd to come save us, to save the sheep. And our shepherd is Hamashiach Yahawashi. He's that shepherd that's going to save us, the 12 tribes of Israel. Let's read on. And the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and the Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, meaning they have given help to the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to the Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb. Yeah, all their princes as Zeba and Zamuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession. This is what the other nations said. Let us take the 12 tribes of Israel as a possession. So now we must take them as a possession. This is prophecy, a prophecy that has not come to pass yet, right? So let me read on actually. Verse 13. Oh, my power, make them like a will as the stubble before the wind. This is King David, right? Praising to the Most High, asking the Most High to please make my enemies like stubble in the wind. I mean, let them be blown away. Let them go somewhere. Let them be blown away. As the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire, so persecute them with thy tempest. This is why we need to be saved right here. This is not talking about all other nations being saved in this. This is talking about the children of Israel. Because what do the other nations need to be saved from? We are the ones that are being oppressed. They don't have nothing to be saved from, right? Right now, we are in South Central LA, right? I see my people that need to be saved out here, not nobody else. Let's read on. So persecute them with thy tempest and make them afraid with thy storm. He says, make them afraid. The same way a so-called black man can be riding up and down the streets and the police get behind him and then they get afraid. We are saying bring the same fear upon these other nations. Make them be afraid about the lights being turned off, being evicted from their homes, right? Let them be afraid about getting gunned down in the street. Let them be afraid about their child becoming, their daughters becoming prostitutes. Let them be afraid about their sons becoming pimps. Let them be afraid about that type of stuff, right? It says, fill their faces with shame, that they may see thy name, O Most High. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yeah, let them be put to shame and perish. It's talking about the nations that were just listed. The Bible speaks of 18 different nations. Those nations have since had their name changed due to the so-called white man changing everything up. But those same nations are still on the earth today. It says, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Right? Now let's go to the book of Revelation, since we got that out of the way. Right? So we now see who needs to be saved on a moral and physical level. Now, these nations, they will be saved, not morally and physically, right? But they'll be saved for something else. And let's see what they are going to be saved for. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 13. and verse 9. This is what the other nations will be saved for, right? Revelation 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So all you nations that have ears, right? All you nations that are going to watch and listen to this video, and all you Israelites that are going to watch and listen to this video. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So the 12 tribes of Israel, we were led into captivity, right? Under so many different empires, starting with the Egyptian rulership, with the Africans, right? All the way to this last empire, which is the Greco-Roman American Empire. We have been led and been slaves in captivity. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's what the true saints of the Most High are patiently waiting for, right? For our get back, our lick, right? That's what we're waiting for. That's what these other nations will be saved for. They will be saved for captivity and for the sword. They're going to be saved to be your janitors. They're going to be saved to be your damn nail techs. They're going to be saved to be your damn field hands. They're going to be saved to be your damn garbage men. They're going to be saved to be your damn chauffeurs. That's what they're going to be saved for. Because somebody got to build up the kingdom, and there ain't going to be no Mexican building up no kingdom. Ain't going to be no Mexican standing on the corner of the heavenly Home Depot, right, looking for work. It just ain't going to happen. It's going to be these other nations that's going to be standing at the heavenly Home Depot and the heavenly Lowe's, looking and begging for work. Please let me do something. That's what's going to happen, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 2. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2. This is the book of Revelation chapter 2 and verse 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. So this is what we have, is this Bible. The 12 tribes of Israel have the words of the Most High. We now are waking up to who we are. We are waking up to the Most High and learning how to fear the Most High. I cannot drive that home enough. Fear the Most High does not show him reverence, right? Give him some respect. It means to be afraid of him. And then everything else falls after that. Because if you are afraid of him, of course you're going to have reverence for him. Of course you're going to show him respect. You're going to put some respect on his name. But first you must be afraid of the Most High, right? It says, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end. So we keep the works of the Most High, right? Keeping these commandments, keeping the faith, right? Until the end. To him will I give power over the nations. And that's with an S. Over the nations. So what is that saying? Somebody's going to be saved, and somebody is now going to go into servitude, into captivity. We have done it long enough. We need our get back as a people. Let's read on. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. So if these other nations don't want to do Eve's nails, if we get Moab in the kingdom, right, and she want to say she want to start spraying sisters with damn aspartame and talking that little nasty language inside of amongst her friends, this is what's going to happen to him. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as a vessel of a potter shall they be broken to shivers. You start speaking that nasty Chinese language inside of the kingdom of heaven, you're gonna be broken to you're gonna be broken into shivers like a vase pot, right? That's what's going to happen to you. It says, even as I received of my Father. These are instructions that we're receiving from the Most High. So you're going to be broken the same way the Israelites were broken. The same way that we got broken and told that we are no more called Malachi. We are no longer called Nehemiah. We are no longer called Azariah. But we now have these damn names like Billy. We got these now names like damn Gunther, or whatever stupid names that are out there. We have now been given your names, Toby and stuff like that. You're gonna be broken the same way. The same way we are broken from our traditions, you're gonna be broken of your traditions. There ain't gonna be no more Buddha rituals going on in the kingdom of heaven. All that stuff is gonna be done with finito. There's going to be no more bowing down to shrines and stuff like that in the kingdom of heaven. That stuff is going to be finito. It's going to be no more. So the same way we were broken from the Most High, you're going to be broken from your little minor pagan god, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. And I'm going to go to verse 3. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Most High shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, because nobody else needs rest except for the 12 tribes of Israel. Nobody else needs rest from the sorrow. You know, we see our brothers, they get off the train and whatnot, coming off of work on the Sabbath day. We are the ones that need that rest. You know, working from can't see morning to can't see night. You know, till you got the calluses in your hand and stuff like that. In the kingdom of heaven, there's not going to be no more calluses in your hand. There's going to be no more hurt backs, right? There's not going to be no more weeping and sorrow and crying and tears. We are the ones that suffer from that right now. Depression. And we suffer from mental illness and things like that. And guess what? Mental illness is contagious, right? Because we got our sisters out there twerking. We got our brothers out there selling drugs and stuff like that, destroying the community and everything. That's what you call a mental illness. One person sees it, and then the next person does it. One sister sees an older sister twerking, and then she starts twerking. That's mental illness being contagious. It catches on. The next one does it, and the next one does it. And now you got a whole bunch of community that's has ADHD, not only physically but also spiritually. Right? So let me just read on. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Most High shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, because we're the only ones that are in fear right now, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. We were made to serve that. The reason why we were made to serve that, because we didn't fear the Most High. That's the only reason. We did not fear the Most High, so the Most High made us fear these nations. That's what happened. That's why it's so important that we must first and foremost fear the Most High, not have reverence to the Most High, right? Not show respect to the Most High, but to be afraid of him. And to be afraid of him, you are going to fall in line and show respect and show reverence to the Most High. The Most High ain't your homeboy. Your Most High ain't some damn sky daddy up there in the heavens, right? He ain't that. He ain't your sky daddy. He ain't your sky friend. It's none of that. It's not nothing but the Most High knows my heart. The Most High knows that your heart is wicked. Right? The Most High knows that you don't fear him. Right? Let's go to the book of let me see. Let's go to Malachi. Let's go to Malachi. And I hope y'all all right out there in internet world, in internet land. I know I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of comments out there from the weak Christians, you know, trying to give me John 3:16, which we already proven what that actually means, right? But this ain't for y'all, because y'all speaking nothing off of emotions. A lot of y'all gonna respond off of straight impulses without doing no diligent research into the scriptures. I mean, this book is so thick. It's 80 books inside of this Bible, 80 books inside this Bible, but let y'all only cherry pick 2 of them, 2 verses. Galatians 3:28 and St. John 3:16, right? Out of this thick book of 80 different books inside of this right here. And out of those 80 books, you have to start getting the understanding of the word. So it ain't enough just to read the Bible. You have to actually get the understanding of what it's talking about. Let's go to actually no, I'm gonna go to Isaiah. Let me go to Isaiah chapter actually I'm gonna go to Malachi since I'm here. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 2. The burden of the word of the Most High to Israel. No, brother, that says all people. To Israel. No, to the so-called white man. To Israel by Malachi. I gotta be my own echo, right? It says verse 2, I have loved you. No, I have loved everybody. I have loved you, saith the Most High. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? So it said, wasn't the so-called Caucasian the black man's brother, right? It says, saith the Most High, yet I loved Jacob and I hated Esau. I mean, come on. What are we going to say? Did the Most High just change his mind and become bipolar and say, oh, don't race that out, and it's all about the New Testament and all of Paul's writings only, which y'all don't understand, right? Let's Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Because y'all got to understand, y'all got to give me the correct understanding of this if I don't got the correct understanding. You know, because this is pretty plain. This is plain upon tables right here. This is Isaiah chapter 60, and we'll start at verse 10. It says, "And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls." That means it's not going to be no Haitian labor. It ain't gonna be no Mexican labor hanging out on the Hollywood. Hanging out on Home Depot, hanging out on damn Lowe's, looking for work, ready to jump in the back of a damn pickup truck. Right? That work is not going to be given to the 12 tribes of Israel. That work is going to be given to the strangers, who are these other nations, right? It says, "And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee." Now, when it says, "and their kings shall minister unto thee," the Hebrew word for that is sharaf. And that don't mean that they're going to teach us the damn Bible. That's not what that means. It means they're going to worship us and they're going to wait on us. That's what the Bible's talking about right here. Again, that Hebrew word can be found in H8334, and it is sharaf, and it means worshiper or wait on. So it says, let me read that again. It says, "And their kings shall minister unto thee." Let me actually replace minister with wait on. "And their kings shall wait on thee. For in thy wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee." Right? So in his wrath, in his fierce anger, he destroyed us. We're destroyed right now, and as a people, we are destroyed as a people, right? But in his mercy, he's going to show us favor. And how can we get that favor? First and foremost, fearing the Most High, crying unto the Most High, which is so important, right? "Therefore thy gates shall be open continually." So the gates of the kingdom of Israel are going to be continually open, right? "They shall not be shut day nor night." So these gates aren't never going to close. They're going to be open 24 hours. Let's see why. "That men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles." That means all of their goods. They're going to bring us their quality oak, the fir tree, the wood. They're going to bring us their gold, their silver, right? They're going to bring us their fancy spices and stuff like that. They're going to bring us the fatted calves and the sheep, and all the righteous food, the clean food that we can eat, all the nice crops they're going to bring us. They're going to bring us the best of all of their first fruits. They're going to bring it into the kingdom of the Most High, right? It says, "That men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought." So their kings, right? They're Donald Trumps, right? They're Joe Bidens. They're going to be brought into us, because those are the ones that are going to be the waiters in the kingdom of heaven. And I dare not count myself as one of the number, but a righteous Israelite is going to have Donald Trump waiting on him, hand and foot, right? A righteous Israelite is going to have Kamala Harris, doing their damn toes. That's what's going to happen. Kamala Harris is going to be a nail tech in the kingdom of heaven, right? To a righteous sister that made it, right? That's what's going to happen. Let's read on. "For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish." So these other nations, is Miss Kim Jong-lee does not want to serve the Israelite woman, guess what? She's going to perish like this. Snap of the finger. She's gone. Poof, like Thanos, right? She's going to be gone, right? It says, "Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted." I mean, they're going to be completely destroyed. Right? It says, "The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree." These are the goods that the other nations are going to usher in and bring into the kingdom of heaven. It says, "The pine tree and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary." They're going to make this to make it beautiful, right? Because wasn't Hiram, right? Wasn't he one of King Solomon's crafty men of the wood and stuff like that, an artificer of all the wood and stuff like that? He helped build the temple. That happened back then by another nation. The same thing is going to happen when the kingdom of the Most High is being built in his place. They're going to do the same exact thing that they did during the time of King Solomon, building up the kingdom, building up the Most High sanctuary. That's what they're going to do. It says, "And I will make the place of my feet glorious, the sons also of them that afflicted thee." So we are the ones that are still under affliction, right? "That afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee." When they come in, they're going to immediately bow down to thee. Let's see what they're going to say. And all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. This is what you silly Christians don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that another nation is going to be bowing down to the feet of the Israelites, right? You other nations don't want to hear this. The religious don't want to hear. They don't teach this in the Christian church. Why don't they teach this in the Christian church? There's going to be a hierarchy in the Christian church. There's going to be servitude in the Christian church. I mean, there's going to be a hierarchy in the kingdom of the Most High. Salakia. Why doesn't the Christian church teach there's going to be a hierarchy in the kingdom of the Most High? Why doesn't the Christian church teach that there's going to be people in servitude in the kingdom of heaven? Why don't they teach that? Right? Because they just have a vested interest in this collecting your money. That's it. Right? It says, and they shall call thee the city of the Most High. That's what we're going to be known as. The city of the Most High. The Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. You see that? So that's what's going to happen. These other nations will be saved, but they're going to be saved for servitude, for hard bondage. They're going to be saved to be workers. That's what they're going to be saved for. Because they don't have to be saved from anywhere, anything else at all. Right? Let me get a couple more. I didn't want to go too long on this right here because I am going to touch on some of this stuff at camp today. Right? But let me see. Let me go to Leviticus chapter 25. This is Leviticus chapter 25, and I'm going to go to verse 44. It says, both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. That means these other nations. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. So it's no way around this right here. This is why the Christian church teaches the law is done away with, because they don't want it. They won't dare tell their congregation of Edomites, of Moabites, of Ammonites that they are going to be bondmen and bondmaids. You know, they won't dare do this. Geno Jennings wouldn't dare do this. Read this verse to his church. T.D. Jakes wouldn't dare read this verse to his congregation. Verse 45. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they beget in your land, and they shall be your possession. So the same way the Israelites were passed down through every single captivity throughout generation and generation, it's going to be reversal. I don't understand why y'all think, why can't we get our get back? Right? Why can't we get some get back from our hard bondage? So we should be the only ones that is going to get constantly beat down and pummeled down and beat down some more, and we don't ever get no justice. Verse 46. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you. So the same way you got an inheritance that's passed down, right? It may be a ring, it may be a book, it may be some money. It's going to be actual people that are going to be passed down as possessions, other nations that are going to pass down as property and as an inheritance to the next generation. Because we were passed down from generation to generation to generation, right? They shall be your bondmen forever. And no, it don't say that, brother. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one another with rigor. So it's not going to happen to us. It's only going to happen to these other nations, right? Let's see. I'm going to get Acts chapter 1 and verse 6. And then I think I'm going to... Yeah, let me get Acts 1 and 6. My incense is about burnt out. This is the frankincense and myrrh again. You know, if y'all read the Bible, you understand that these are gifts that was brought to Hamashiach Yahushai, right? Let me get Acts. So this is the book of Acts. chapter 1 and verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Most High, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? No, all people. The kingdom to Israel, the New Testament, that the kingdom will be restored to Israel. The Israelites have always had this understanding that the world will belong to the Israelites, right? I'm gonna get one more. Actually. I'm gonna get Micah. Let me get Micah. Let me get Micah, because I have to drive this point home. Because again, can the white man be saved? And also it means / can all the other nations be saved? But we know how our people are. They always want to know, hey, can the white man be saved? What about the white man? You know, what about him, right? Right. Give me 1 second. Having a little technical difficulty real quick. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. One second. A little technical difficulty. But yeah, so Micah, let me see, Micah 4 and 1. It says, But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Most High shall be established in the top of the mountains, right? And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Most High, and to the house of the Most High of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Most High from Jerusalem, right? Verse 3. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. Let's read on, because we're going to get to the point. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not look up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Because right now, it's nothing but war going on. There's no peace. Let's read verse 4. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. For the mouth of the Most High of hosts have spoken it. Verse 5. Here's the kicker right here. This is what a lot of people are going to tune out to right here, right? Last verse. For all people will walk, everyone in the name of his God. Now, what is this talking about? All nations, they're going to have gods. But guess who those gods are going to be? The 12 tribes of Israel. So it's going to be no more Buddha. But your new God is going to be Brother Azariah. Your new God is going to be Brother Malachi. Your new God is going to be a righteous Israelite, right? The name and Salaki, for all people will walk, everyone in the name of his God. So who you belong to, your new Massa, right? M-A-S-S-A, right? Your Massa is going to be a righteous Israelite, right? It says, and we will walk in the name of our power forever and ever. And we're going to walk in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai. That's the proper order. Hamashiach Yahushai, and then it's the Most High. So we're going to walk in the name of the Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, right? Who walks in the name of his Father, the Most High, right? And let's prove that real quick. I got to prove that real quick before I let y'all go, that we are going to be their guys, and that the Israelites are called guys to these other nations. I'm going to go to 1 Samuel real quick. 1 Samuel, just to prove that point real quick, that's what that's talking about in Micah 4 and 5. Micah chapter 4, verse 5. I'm going to 1 Samuel chapter 4. And I'm going to go to verse 8. Woe unto us! Who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness. So who was in the wilderness? Who was in Egypt? The Israelites, right? And with that, I want to say shalom.